Student friends, in yesterday's lecture we studied the oscillator. We started the last topic, and that is an oscillator, where we have studied that oscillator is a device that converts DC into AC, or it produces the output without any input. We studied its classification into three types. One is depending upon waveforms, that is sinusoidal oscillator and non-sinusoidal oscillator. Second one is depends upon frequency generation, that is a radio frequency oscillator and audio frequency oscillator. Third one is depends upon tank circuit, it is LC oscillator or RC oscillator. After that we have studied the meaning of positive feedback, that is to construct an oscillator the feedback must be positive. That means the amplifier with the positive feedback is going to be converted into an oscillator. We studied that if KAV should be greater than or equal to 1, then and then only amplifier circuit is going to produce maximum output without any input, and so that the amplifier is going to be converted into an oscillator. Friends, after that we have studied the Barkhausen criteria, which refers to two conditions to sustain the oscillations in the tank circuit. The first condition is KAV should be greater than or equal to 1, and second condition is there should be a positive feedback in an amplifier, and to achieve that particular positive feedback the net phase shift produced by an oscillator will be either 360 degree or 0 degree. Conversely, we can say if the phase difference, net phase difference in the oscillatory circuit is either 360 degree or 0 degree, then there is a positive feedback. And if there is a positive feedback and second condition is KAV should be greater than or equal to 1, then the oscillations are going to be sustained in the tank circuit. This is what we can call it as the Barkhausen criteria. After that, we have studied the working of LC tank circuit. Friends, today we are going to study one of the type of an oscillator that is known as Hartley oscillator. Hartley oscillator is the LC oscillator because it contains inductance and capacitor in a tank circuit. It is a sinusoidal oscillator. It generates sine waves at the output. It is a radio frequency oscillator because it produces the frequency in a radio frequency range. Such an oscillator, we can call it as it is the Hartley oscillator. Let us see its construction. To understand the construction of Hartley oscillator, we can say it consists of a transistor Q. This is the transistor Q used in common emitter configuration. Emitter is common for input as well as output. The operating point of this transistor Q is adjusted exactly on the center of the load line in the active region by using voltage divider arrangement formed by resistance R1 and R2. That means the role of R1 and R2 is they are going to act as a resistor divider biasing network to provide necessary amount of input voltage to allow necessary amount of base current to flow through the BJT, which will control the collector current naturally. The operating point is made to be located exactly on the center of the load line in the active region so that this BJT is going to act as a very faithful amplifier. In this case, resistance RE connected between emitter and ground, it is going to act as emitter resistance. The capacitor CE connected to emitter and ground in parallel to RE it is called as emitter bypass capacitor. The role of emitter bypass capacitor C is bypass AC current to the ground. And the role of RE is it provides self-biasing or emitter biasing to the BJT. The load resistance RC produces the load voltage across the collector. Friends, this load resistance may be sometimes in Hartley oscillator, it is a radio frequency choke coil RFC can also be going to act as a load resistance here. If that is used here, it will protect the short circuiting of the BJT and also it doesn't allow high frequency current to pass through the BJT. RFC or RC can be used as a load across at the collector. Student friends, CI is the input coupling capacitor that couples the feedback voltage feed from the tank circuit. So this is the feedback path with which the output from tank circuit is given back to the input. The capacitor CO is going to act as the output coupling capacitor that couples output of collector current to the tank circuit. And naturally, tank circuit is composed of the combination of L1 and L2 connected in series whose center tapping is grounded. Number of turns of L1 is 1/3 and number of turns of L1 is 2/3 and number of turns of L2 is 1/3. This is how the inductance is going to be designed, the proper generation of the frequency. In parallel with that, the capacitor C is connected that forms the tank circuit. In short, tank circuit is connected between output of the amplifier and that of the input of the amplifier that is used to generate the feedback voltage, and it is given from output to that of the input. This circuit is made to be operated with the power supply provided by VCC. Student friends, this is what the construction of Hartley oscillator. Now let us see how this Hartley oscillator works. If you look to this particular circuitry, naturally it has no input additional source, it is connected. Thus, it has no input, even though that it produces the output. To understand its working, when power supply is made on, when VCC is turned on, naturally R1 and R2 starts working to adjust its operating point exactly on the center of the load line in the active region, so that it is going to act as a very faithful amplifier. As the being emitter base junction is forward biased, it allows some amount of base current. At the cost of that, the collector current will starts flowing. This collector current is coupled by CO to the tank circuit. When this collector current passes to the tank circuit, capacitor C starts charging. When capacitor C starts charging with the polarity upper terminal positive and lower terminal negative, this charging of capacitor continues till voltage across capacitor reaches to the maximum level. Now, as a being, negative charges are generated to the lower plate and these are fed back to the input, and transistor is of N type, basis of P type. To the base P region, the negative charges or negative voltage is provided, hence emitter base junction is reverse biased. At the cost of that, transistor will be turned off. When transistor is turned off, capacitor C starts discharging, and it starts discharging through inductance L1 and L2. This discharging current will start building up magnetic flux across the inductance L1 and L2. When capacitor completely discharged, steady state of magnetization is reached across L1 and L2. When this happens, capacitor is completely discharged naturally. No charges are left on that particular capacitor. Even though that is there, emitter base junction is not forward biased. When capacitor is completely discharged and steady state of magnetization is reached across the inductance L, after that magnetic flux will be starts collapsing. When magnetic flux will be starts collapsing, it will allow current to pass through the capacitor, but it is in opposite direction. So that's why capacitor C will again start charging, but with the polarity opposite to that of the previous one. Opposite to that of previous one means upper plate with negative charges and lower plate with positive charges. The process of charging of the capacitor and collapsing of the magnetic field will continue till capacitor fully charged and magnetic flux is totally collapsed. Now, the positive charges of the capacitor are connected to the P region of the base of transistor Q. This makes base emitter junction forward biased. At the cost of that, it will allow base current to flow through the base of BJT, which will allow transistor to turn on and collector current will start flowing through it. This current is coupled to the tank circuit. When this current is coupled to the tank circuit, again capacitor C will start charging. With the polarity, now capacitor C will start discharging now across inductance L1 and L2. The process of discharging of the capacitor and building of the magnetic flux will again continue, but with the opposite polarity. This will continue till magnetic flux is totally built up across the inductance L1 and L2 and capacitor totally gets discharged. And this process will repeat continuously within the tank circuit to turn on the transistor and also to turn off the transistor. Accordingly, the oscillations are set up in the tank circuit. These setup oscillations are given to the input, which is amplified by the amplifier formed by this circuitry, and the amplified oscillations are made available at the collector, which we can observe on the CRO. But friends, to sustain the oscillations, it has to satisfy the Barkhausen criteria. The first Barkhausen criteria is feedback must be positive. Friends, here BJT is used in common emitter configuration, and when BJT is used in common emitter configuration, it produces the phase shift of 180 degree between its input and output, whereas tank circuit produces the phase shift of 180 degree. This 180 degree phase shift is added to the input, then net phase shift becomes 360 degree. If the phase shift produced by the tank circuit is subtracted with the input, then net phase shift becomes 0 degree. We are aware that when net phase shift becomes equal to either 0 degree or 360 degree, then feedback becomes to be a positive. And this is one of the criteria of Barkhausen which is satisfied here, that is feedback is positive. Friends, when resonance takes place in the tank circuit, then maximum frequency of the waves is going to be generated. At resonance, the impedance of tank circuit has to become 0. Impedance of tank circuit means the reactance of this particular tank circuit. That means sum of the reactance of L1 and L2 and sum of the reactance of capacitor C. We are well aware that reactance of inductance is XL, that is J omega L, and reactance of capacitor C is Xc, it is 1 upon J omega C. By adding them, we can get the impedance of tank circuit. When this impedance becomes to be 0, then in the tank circuit, resonance will occur and maximum frequency is going to be generated at the tank circuit, and those are amplified and get produced at the collector output of the Hartley oscillator. Friends, this is how the Hartley oscillator works by satisfying its one of the condition that feedback is positive. What happens to the second condition we will study in further slide. To occur the resonance in a tank circuit, the total impedance of LC tank circuit should be 0. We have to calculate the impedance. As I stated that impedance of tank circuit is j omega L1 plus j omega m plus j omega L2 plus j omega m plus 1 upon j omega c. By summing them, we can get j omega L1 plus j omega L2 plus 2 times j omega m plus 1 upon j omega c. Take j omega common so that we can get L1 plus L2 plus 2m minus 1 upon omega square c. At resonance, to produce the maximum frequency, this impedance must be 0. That is j omega L1 plus L2 plus twice m minus 1 upon omega square c, it is equal to 0. J omega doesn't become 0, so that's why L1 plus L2 plus twice m minus 1 upon omega square c, it becomes 0. Which one can write it as L1 plus L2 plus twice m equal to 1 upon omega square c. Therefore, omega square c is equal to 1 upon L1 plus L2 plus twice m. Omega square equal to 1 upon c into L1 plus L2 plus twice m. Therefore, omega equal to 1 upon square root now. Look at here. 1 upon square root c into L1 plus L2 plus twice m. But omega is equal to 2 pi f. Put it there. 2 pi f equal to 1 upon root c into L1 plus L2 plus twice m. Therefore, f is equal to 1 upon twice pi root of c into L1 plus L2 plus 2m. If you replace L1 plus L2 plus twice m by L, then one can write it f is equal to 1 upon 2 pi root of LC, where L is L1 plus L2 plus twice m. So this is the formula for frequency of Hartley oscillator. Please do remember this particular formula along with L is equal to L1 plus L2 at least. By using them, we are going to solve some numerical examples which are likely to be asked on these oscillators. Thus, formula for frequency of Hartley oscillator is f is equal to 1 upon twice pi root of LC. This equation represents the frequency of Hartley oscillator. To get the oscillations, the second condition is KAV should be greater than or equal to 1. One of the condition is already satisfied, that there is a positive feedback. If there is a positive feedback, then we have to make KAV should be greater than or equal to 1, and this is done by adjusting current gain of BJT equal to L1 plus M upon L2 plus M. When current gain of BJT becomes equal to L1 plus M upon L2 plus M, then KAV should become greater than or equal to 1. This is the second condition of Markowitz criteria, which is going to be satisfied by means of an Hartley oscillatory circuit. As the being both the conditions are satisfied, then oscillations are going to be sustained in the tank circuit as we have described in the working of the oscillator, which are feedback to the input. These are amplified and we can observe those waveforms at the collector on cathode ray oscilloscope. Even one can measure the frequency. The frequency comes to be in a radio frequency range, which is going to depend upon the component used in a tank circuit, that is L and C. Means the frequency of Hartley oscillator is decided by the inductance and capacitor which are used in the tank circuit. Dear students, this is all about the Hartley oscillator. We are expected to be studied. In tomorrow's lecture, we are going to study one more oscillator known as Colpitz's oscillator. Today, we will stop.